Okay, here we go. So we are in Brachot. Eyn Yaakov in the Gemara Brachot, and we're on page 35b. Okay, and it says like this. This is. How are you? Come on in. Just in time. We just started. Okay. So, like I was saying, last week we began talking about the argument between Rav Shimon ben Yochai and Rabbi Yishmael. Right? It was Rabbi Yishmael. It was, Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael was of the, and this is what we were just talking about, Rabbi Yishmael was of the opinion that we have to do work with Torah, and that's how it works. And the reason for that is because in the Shema we read, V'yasavta deganecha, that if you will gather in your grain, that so if we do what Hashem wants, then we'll be able to gather in our grain. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai said, no, that's a negative actually. V'yasavta deganecha is a negative, not such a positive, because that's only when we're not doing exactly what Hashem wants. But if we do exactly what Hashem wants and we serve Hashem totally, then others will do work for us. In other words, we won't have to work. Your example, you can just sit down, as opposed to what you were arguing, that you could just sit down and relax. Yeah. Nobody's arguing sit down and relax, by the way. That's another thing. That's another problem here. I mean, another thing we have to understand. Both Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai are both saying you have to work. They're both saying you have to work. One says Osik b'Torah full time, learn Torah full time. That's Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, and the other one says you put together work with Torah, as it says in Pirkei Avot, and that is the winning combination. The Gemara even said that many people did. Some people did like Rabbi Yishmael. Some people did like Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. The ones who did like Rabbi Yishmael were successful for the most part, and the ones who did like Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai for the most part were not successful. Why? Why weren't they successful?
Because they didn't have that level.
Correct, because they weren't at that level of trusting God totally. What they would do is they would learn Torah and then look to the window and say, when's my reward coming? Where's my paycheck? So that's not the ideal. Again, if you're doing everything the Shem Shammai, if you're learning and you really have your hearts in that, and that's your job. So like Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and a few others throughout the history, not many people can live up to that. So then it works, otherwise not. Okay, so now we got to a different here, and that's where you are. So it says, Ama Rabba bar Barchana. So Rabba, the son of Barchana, said, in the name, that Rav Yochanan said, in the name of Rav Yehuda ben Eli, and this is an interesting thing that I saw from ArtScroll. When it says, one person said in the name of somebody else, it means he heard it directly from that person. And it says that one person said, if one person said, the other person said, that's direct. They heard it directly from that person. If one person said in the name of the other person, that means he heard it indirectly. So now you have Amarav Barchana, Amarav Yochanan, Mishum Rav Yehuda. So he heard it that Rav Yehuda said. He didn't hear it from Rav Yehuda. He heard the name of Rav Yehuda, Bar Eli. So he says, Ba or A, come and see. Ma ben Dorot Rishonim, the Dorot Acharonim. What is the difference between the first generations and the latter generations? Dorot, Dorot Rishonim, the first generations, Sha'asu Toratan Keva, that made their Torah fixed. That was the main, the fixed thing. Malachtan arai, and their work, their malacha, the way their livelihood work type of thing, was made to be arai. In other words, arai would be, how does he translate arai? Not fixed. It's he says incidental. Fine.
Yeah, here says on and off basis.
On and off basis. Okay. Arai is like a when you say a suda arai, a meal that you're eating. It's not a set meal. It's just I needed a snack and I grabbed a snack. So that's what arai is. Zeh v'zeh nitkayim b'yadam. So both their the money stayed and their Torah stayed. That's what it means. Dorot acharonim, but the latter generations where they are now, sha'asu malachtim keva, which have changed the equation, and now they made their malacha fixed, their work fixed, the way they make money fixed. Torah tanarai, and their Torah is either I do it or I don't. That's the unfixed thing.
Is this talking about Rishonim and Achronim? What's it talking about? Or not? No.
The original
Amoras and the what's I was trying to say.
Tanaim and the Amoraim. Right.
Just during the period, the Talmudic period, they're talking about.
Right. Nothing's changed.
Wow.
Nothing's changed. So it's so he says the latter generations who made their work fixed and their Torah arai. So neither their Torah nor their money was fixed in their hands. They didn't. It didn't work. It didn't remain with them. Okay, and that's a main thing that they're arguing. So it's you're seeing that the Rabbi Baruch Chana is already crying that in his generations that nothing's lasting because people are not making Torah fixed, and so on and so forth. Another difference, he says, is Doro Rishonim Hayu Machnisin Perotein Derech Truck Siman Kedei L'chaim B'Maser. The original the first generations, when they would gather in their crops, they would bring in their fruit through the doorway, as it were. Rashi explains, from the gateway to the courtyard to the house. That's what it means. And why would they do that? In order to obligate themselves in ma'asir, in the paying of the tithes. Because if they would not bring it through the house, we'll find out, then they avoid taxes. Let's understand, ma'asir is tax. Okay, so when people look at ma'asir, they think, oh, it's so nice, it's such a sweet thing. I'll give 10%, it's tzedakah, I'll support some people. I'm such a generous guy. No, this is a tax. And again, nothing's really changed. If we can get a loophole in the American system of how to not pay taxes, we do. And if we're smart enough to get the right lawyers, whoever the tax accountants, we get them, and we are considered geniuses in the system. Donald Trump. You have all these guys who do it. Of course, the 99%, which is really probably 2%, but it's the Wall Street, what are they called? The Occupy Wall Street crowd. So they condemned these people for getting the tax loopholes. Why they condemn them? Because they weren't smart enough to see these talk. That's all. If I don't see them, I condemn you. But really, this is what's going on. The original people, they would go out of their way to ensure that they would be obligated to pay Meiser. They didn't want to cheat the system. And Meiser is from God. God's telling them to give Meiser. Okay, so then what happened was the second generation, but the latter generations, Machnis and Perute and Derech Gagot, they would bring in their fruits via the roof, Derech Chatzerot, or the courtyard. And we'll find out it really doesn't mean courtyard. So they say it means, courtyard, they say it means, next note. A different type, it's not a courtyard, because courtyard would make it off, it would be part of it. But they're saying it's a messed up thing here. There's really, some people would argue it should even be there, but but the problem is, the point is, it's a different way. Or derech karfifiot, or they would take it from the storage yards. Okay? Why they do all this? Kedei lepatra min meiser, so they could avoid paying meiser. So the latter generations didn't want to pay meiser. They want to get out of it because, again, if I have to pay 10%, or if I have to give 10% of my crops to the Levi and to the Kohen and to my Sheni. I mean, it's a good chunk out of my money. And the only time I have to do it is if I bring it to my house, ready-made. If I don't have to do that. So if I bring it through my roof, I lower it through my roof, I exempted myself from paying that tax. So there's an element of the text here that it says Lefichach lo nidbarchu preyotehen, and as a result of them trying to get them out of the tax. So, and not everybody reads this, but I thought it was an interesting point that they're having here. Therefore, their fruits were not blessed. Because what happens is, and this is also very much part of our tradition, if I don't give Meiser, proper Meiser, 10%, if I don't give that Meiser, so God will reduce my monies to my level of Meiser. So let's say, for argument's sake, that somebody is making $40,000 and they decide they're going to give $1,000 in Meiser. Really, they had to give $4,000, but they gave $1,000. So Hashem is going to work it so that the next year they only make $10,000 because you only gave $1,000. You didn't give what I demanded you. On the other hand, if you would have given 5,000, a little more than 10%, Hashem gives you a pay raise
to cover it.
To cover it, I have to cover you up to 20%. After 20%, you're on your own. Like God says, leave me alone. But up to 20. So if I would give, imagine that, if I would, instead of giving 4,000, I would really push myself and give $8,000 the next year or 2 years from now, whatever it is going to be, somehow I'm going to have $80,000 in my account. And God says, go ahead, challenge me. I dare you. Come on. Give my Meiser. On this, give my Meiser. So now here's where you have to look at it. I'm dealing with money. So that is pretty clear. But when it comes to crops, that's a whole different thing. Because crops, you don't realize it at first. Right? As a farmer on Amish country, they plant and they assume what they're going to get. It's only assumption. The weather has to work, everything has to work. So if what happens is they get a produce that year, how many bushels they get. I don't know what a bushel is, but whatever, how many bushels they get. And they're religious people. They give their 10%. Okay, so Hashem says, oh, you gave taxes, great. Next year we'll give you the same thing. So you'll have the same thing. Great. The one guy says, I'm going to give more. I want to give more. So he gives 50%. Suddenly, next year, he did the same planting, but more fruit came up. He got a bumper crop suddenly. And he's like, wow, look at that. And then he gives 10%. So next year, he only gets the same amount. If he would, on the other hand, continue to give his 15%, each year is going to increase more, the produce. It's going to increase more and more and more, because that's the blessing from Hashem. That's what we're talking about. Okay, that's really when you wouldn't imagine. But again, the Ramah says in Hilchot Tzedakah that also applies to money. So if those who want to make it rich, it says you can do it with that intent. I can do it with that. I can give money with that intent that Hashem is going to pay me back. Also, money that we spend for Shabbat on Yom Tov, that's also not part of the cheshbon. It's not part of the account. And Hashem will pay us back for that. Whatever we put out for that, it says Hashem will pay us for that. If I put it out for that reason, in other words, I buy my wife a new dress for Yom Tov, not because I think she needs one, because that's what I should do, or buy flowers, or we have shulant on it, whatever, meat shulant. All these things Hashem says, no, that's on me. You know, it's like when we go to college, what do our parents give us? Or to high school in this case, what do our parents give us? You give a care package. You set them up. You say, here you go, tzadikal, here, I'm going to give you this. Or during the year, we send them something. They go to camp, you send them something. You always send them something. It's always amazing how much we send. Okay. And there's food or something else that they like, and it's, wow, a bumper crop here. And if they get really good grades, we reward them some other, or they did something really good in the school, or wherever they are, we reward them more, right? That's what parents do. So also Hashem is our parent. So if we do what He wants, and sometimes a little more, then we get that reward. That's what's going on here. So now the second generation said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to break the mitzvah. I don't want to break that mitzvah. In other words, if they would bring it through the house, they would give the tax. So they'd say, how can I avoid giving the tax? So they found that way. So then it says, therefore, they're, again, this is left out most texts, but I thought it was interesting that some people said, therefore, their fruit was not blessed. The Amar Rav Yanai ein a tevel mitchayev b'maser ad shira pnei habayit. How do they know that they didn't have to pay the tax? Because Rav Yanai said that is the tevel, this untithed produce, is not obligated in Meiser until it sees the face of the house, in other words, the front of the house. Afilu chatze kovat shenema, and according to Rav Yochanan, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. How does he know that? Because it says Biyarti Kodesh Minabai, because it says in this week in Parsha Kitavo, where we are giving confession to God, we say, I have cleaned out the hectares from my house, and I've given it to the Levi. So as part of the that ritual. So we know that has to come from the house. So Rav Yochanan disagreed, and he said, no, afilu chatzir kovat, even the chatzir, which we said originally they could have gone through, if they would have brought through the chatzir, it would have been no problem. Here he says, no, the chatzir is still considered the house, because it says you will eat in your gates and be satisfied. So he holds that, no, if you bring it through your chatzir, you still are obligated to pay meiser on that. Okay. So now, the Anaf Yosef, and this is what I was saying to you before we started, that he's going to look at this. He says the first generations that made Torah their fixed profession, and they're working, how they make money to be a incidental profession, both of them maintained, both their Torah and their money was maintained. He says, Kia ohev et Hashem yibarach. The one who loves Hashem yibarach, his ava ro'oya, with a fitting love, hinezod hiya ika be'ina, because, and that is shown by the Torah being the main thing in his eyes. Kiodeya asher rak lezeh nivra olam, because he understands that the main purpose of the world was for studying Torah and for following Torah. That's the main thing. This person understands that. Uvizeh yavol olam. And with this, he comes to the world. Nishlach misham la'avod Hashem avod tama, and that's why he came into this world. That's who he was sent from there to serve Hashem with his complete service continually. Ulazot ikre machshavto v'tarato, and this is his main thought and how his Torah is occupied in this. And he's looking at how can he do this service to Hashem in all these different manners. So that's really what he's looking at. Every single thing in life, he's saying, how can I better service? How can I better improve my service? And he's looking for ways to even the sideways to connect to these mitzvot. Every single thing he's doing, he's trying to connect. And when in the morning he gets up, with this, he's fulfilling that he needs to get up to serve Hashem during the day. This is the first thing on his mind and the main thing on his mind. And therefore, take up Yaselafi Arko Mitorah Mitzvot Hashem. That's why he immediately will do setting up the Torah and doing the mitzvah to Hashem. And all of these things will be in a pleasing manner. And he and all his thoughts and his heart will be focused on that. V'ein ba lo al machshavato shum esek acher. And there'll be no other esek, no other dealings there. Ki im zeh hua ikar asyeto be'olam. It's just this would be the main thing that he's doing. You understand what I'm saying? That's it. This is his main thing. V'yotze al zeh rov hayom. And that is what he's going to spend the majority of his day on. And after this, and then he's going to look. He has to work, so he's going to work a little bit, maybe an hour or two, to make his money. And he won't restrain from Hashem to do it the majority of the day. So the fee ashen nigzar alav in a shamayim. And why does he work like this? Because it was already established. It was already decreed from heaven. Sheyarviach b'yom hazeh, that he would get a certain amount of money in that day. Vaday yarviach v'lo Yosef. And he's certainly going to get that earning. V'lo Yosef im yavo kol yom v'gir rabba. And he's not going to get more even if he works the whole day. Hear that. Hear what he's saying here. I know that I'm going to get a certain amount of money this day. I don't know what that money is. I don't know that. God didn't tell me on Rosh Hashanah what my paycheck is going to be. But I know that each day I'm allotted a certain amount of money. As a result of that, I'm going to put I have to do my hishtadlus. I have to put my effort in. If I'm going to do my hishtadlut, so fine. I put in my hour or 2 hours. That makes it cover my bases. I went onto the stock market for 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, or I did my work, and whatever money that I was supposed to make, that will be enough. And if I would work more, I won't make any more. You understand? We don't believe that. We do not believe that. We truly believe that I'm paid according to what I work, and if I don't work, I don't get paid. That's what we believe. That's what we're taught to believe here.
So when a guy has an hourly job, he's required to be at work for 8 hours a day, whatever it is.
So he shouldn't stay 10 hours. If he had to be the 8 hours, and the boss says, "I can give you, I'm going to give you overtime." Go home. Go learn Torah. Go learn Torah. Leave me alone. You're not giving me overtime, boss. God's going to give me
He's giving you an option. You can do it or not do it.
Right. So the question is, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Or if you say there's a lot of ways that we do this now somebody who's listening to the tape is going to say to me, Rabbi, maybe that time and a half is what you need to kick you over the thing. Maybe that's God, also from God. How do you know it's not from God? And what Anav Yosef is arguing is, it doesn't matter how much you work. Hashem has His ways to get you the money. So as long as you understand that Torah is your main occupation, if you really, and again, you have to really believe that, and you have to really live that. Not enough to believe, but to live it. If I'm living that, then I can work to my 1 or 2 hours. I can put my little bare minimum in. If I do not believe that, bare minimum won't do anything.
So it's according to what your employment or chosen profession is. If you're salaried and you need to do your job, it says don't kill yourself by working 14, 15 hours a day. Get your job done in a reasonable time and then go study.
Correct.
If you're employed hourly and required to be at your job a certain length of time, that's it. Again,
as long as you know what the main thing is and what your minor thing is.
Okay.
The main thing according to this, the main thing should be Torah. The minor thing in your mind should be the work. Why? Because God's the one who's writing the paycheck. Somebody else is signing it for him. He has a lot of messengers to sign it. But God is allowing you to do this. So again, if I'm really at that level, and most people are not at this level, that's the problem. Most people are not. Today, most people are not at this level. In those days, in the times of the Gemara already, they weren't at that level. But if somebody was at that level and they truly believed that, then their job that they would get would be 12 to 1 with an hour lunch, an hour for lunch and pay sent home. You know, that's always the ideal job. I work from 12 to 1 with an hour lunch break and my pay is sent home. That's what I want. Okay. But that's the ideal job for most people. But but again, if I'm going, why does Hashem, by the way, need us to do that little bit of job? Why does he demand that we do something? According to this Weltanschauung.
Repair the world.
No.
Somebody's got to do the work.
No, not true. First of all, we have plenty of non-Jews in the world. We have plenty of non-Jews to get the job done. We're less than 1% of the world population. If all of us would decide to learn and leave our jobs and decide to learn the whole day, the world would not stop revolving. I'm sorry. You have so many others. We're less than 1% of world population. You can't convince me that we're that important to the world economy. So if you would employ us all to be Kollel Jungerman, okay, so the world could support that. And that wouldn't be a problem. So what else? Logically, if it worked that I could just learn Torah all day, and I would get all my money, and I get my Cadillac Coupe de Ville, and I get all and I have no what's it called? No needs. Everything would be done for me. What Jewish person wouldn't do that? What, as a matter of fact, how many non-Jews wouldn't start converting? Your free choice is taken away. Your free choice is totally taken away. Because if I see this is working, why would I be so stupid as to do the other thing? On the other hand, if I have to work, if I'm studying, but I put my time in, I went to my job, and I get the money, God gives me the money I need. Again, I'm not necessarily rich, but the money I need to get everything done, then the person looking doesn't see reality. They see what they want to see. They see, I'm not making a 6-figure salaries, not including decimal point. I'm not making that. And therefore, if I would just put my time and effort in, do you imagine how rich you could be? All you do is work, go for the extra, go for the overtime. The boss gave you overtime. Go with that, because that's also from God, they'll argue. Well, it probably is, but it's, I don't need it. Again, I want Torah as my main occupation. So that's what's going on. If God would give us everything and make it easy for us, there would be no free will. I would just do that. There would be no free will anymore. But once everybody has to work and put their effort in, or, by the way, the other way, for the Kollel guys who are on all these programs, Section 8, food stamps, and they're looked down upon and spat upon by, not literally, but in people's minds, he's a Kollel guy, he can't do anything else. That's his hell. And he has to put up with that, all the meanwhile learning Torah and saying Hashem's taking care of me. So it's not easy for the Kollel guy who is doing it, no matter what he's making, unless he's making, like I said, 6 figures. It's not easy for him. And at the same time, he's fulfilling his dream. Hopefully he's doing a good job at it. But nobody's looking at him and saying, wow, I'm going to jump on his bandwagon. Nobody wants that. On the other hand, can you imagine if they were making $50 million? Everybody would want that. Who wouldn't want that? Right? So then we would do that. So that's why the Eyn Yaakov Yosef is saying they have to work a little. Put a little effort in, but that was what the original people would do. And as a result of that, their Torah was kept and their money was there. They had a bank account. Amazing thing. V'yotziel zeh rov hayom. Okay, I said that. I'm sorry. Lefi asher nigzra alav and shema. I said that. Okay, right. So v'lo yigra im lo yasok, and it wouldn't be subtracted for if they didn't work. Ki im v'sha o shtaim, if they didn't work the 1 or 2 hours. But take if achar ze yach zo chozil so that yikar. and then they would go back to doing what their main profession was, namely La'avod et Hashem, to serve Hashem. They do it with a full heart. That is the love we're talking about Hashem. And when you those who love Hashem, hallelujah. So even that which they have to do, that's forced upon them. So even in their eyes, even if they're forced to do something like working in your hourly wage, they understand that the main thing is doing the mitzvah Hashem. So their desire to fulfill Hashem is made the main thing, and the other stuff is the incidental. Okay, so that's what the rabbi is arguing was the original generations. His generation, by the time he came along, and we're, like I said, we're way back in Gemara times, but that's when they had already lost that ideal apparently, and now they were steeped in work becoming their main profession, and Torah being the incidental. So at that point, and that's where we are today, let's be honest with ourselves, that's where we are today, we truly believe that that's what makes the world go round. If I work, if I put my time in, then I'll make the money. We really do, is for the most part, most people do not hold that they can just sit down and get their paycheck sent to them. I don't care who you are. And like I said, we've been convinced that way through generations. So that's what we are. So I wouldn't advise crossing the street without looking both ways. For those people who think, well, I'm not going to die, if God doesn't want me to die because it can get hurt. And I wouldn't advise going to work for 2-3 hours and believing that God is going to give you a paycheck if you don't do everything else that they're demanding here. And let's understand something else, that if I'm really living the life of Torah and everything is coming from God and I see it that way, then I won't mind that I don't have 3 cars in my driveway or 2 cars in my driveway. I won't mind that I don't have certain things. I'll say this is all from what Hashem wants. I'm living the life of Hashem. So it's all in the attitude there too. It doesn't mean that just because the first generations who did this does not mean that they were fantastically rich. It meant that they had, whatever they had, they were samich bechalka. They were happy with their portion because they knew that that's what Hashem said you need. I'm giving you what you need, not what you think you need. Okay, and we'll have to stop there.